I am Sean Gibbons, a faculty member at the Institute for Systems Biology, or ISB. ISB is a nonprofit biomedical research institute located in Seattle, and we're an affiliate of the Providence Health System. We focus on some of the most pressing issues in human health, including the microbiome, of course, COVID-19, brain health, aging, cancer, and many chronic and infectious diseases. ISB also focuses on improving K through 12 STEM education, and of course beyond K through 12 as well, as you see today, in particular by addressing inclusion and equity for students of color, women, and other historically underrepresented groups in science. You can learn more about ISB by visiting our website, isbscience.org. As a nonprofit organization, we rely on the generous support of donors. We made this event totally free to folks, and we hope that you take advantage of that. But if there's some of you with a little extra cash in your pocket and you want to support a good cause for maybe next year's course, for example, there is a donate button at the bottom of our course website. Before we get into this too far, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional and unceded lands of the coastal Salish people, past and present, including the Duwamish people. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. I'd also like to acknowledge our generous sponsors who help make these next 3 days possible: Illumina, Metabolon, and the Washington Research Foundation. You can learn more about these sponsors on our website. Because of their support, we've been able to provide this virtual course and symposium free of charge to over 1,000 registrants from over 70 countries. To all of you tuning in around the world, we're grateful for your time today, and we're excited for this opportunity to help train the next generation of microbiome researchers from all around the world. If you're on social media, please remember to share your experiences throughout the 2022 ISB Virtual Microbiome Series using the hashtag #ISBMicro22. And if you want to tag ISB so we retweet you, their handle is @ISBSCI. Okay, so at this point, we're going to launch a poll to get to know a little bit about all of you on the Zoom right now, and I'll keep talking, and then we will sort of review the results of that poll by the time I'm done. So just to give you a quick overview of what we did yesterday, in case you weren't able to join us, our instructor, Dr. Christian Diener, taught us all about amplicon sequencing data analysis using this ecosystem of software tools called QIIME2. And in particular, we focused on looking at samples coming from people from underrepresented groups in microbiome science. Most research in our field, and indeed in most biomedical research, focuses on populations in sort of wealthier urban settings, like places in North America or in Europe. And so we're underrepresented in all this diversity of human phenotypic variation and microbiome variation that exists across the world. It's driven by diet and by culture and all kinds of things. And it's really critical that we understand the span of all of that variability if we want to translate microbiome research into healthcare that is equitably applicable to everyone on the planet, not just to people in North America and Europe. So we decided to focus this year's course and series on populations outside of the US and Europe, and studying them and trying to understand better how to incorporate those data into our work. So we processed 16S amplicon data yesterday from 3 different indigenous populations from around the planet. And today, our instructor, Nick Bowman, who's a graduate student in the molecular engineering program at the University of Washington, is going to walk us through taking these same exact 16S samples and using them to model the metabolic outputs of the microbiota. So we're going to leverage a modeling platform called Micom that we've developed here at ISB that allows you to build community scale metabolic models of microbiomes where you can modify the community, the composition of what microbes are in the system, and you can modify the dietary input, and see how that all affects the metabolic outputs of the system. And so today, there's going to be a focus on how diet affects the outputs of the system. So if we change the diet for a given microbiome, how does that affect the metabolites you get out at the other side? And so Nick is going to walk us through that analysis today, which is very exciting. After Nick's course, we will have a talk today by Alex Carr, who's another graduate student in the molecular engineering program at the University of Washington. And he's going to talk about some of his research, not looking at dietary composition of the microbiome, but modulating the composition itself. So if you add an organism that wasn't already residing in a microbiome, can you predict its engraftment if you try to add it into the system? And this is relevant to like probiotics or even infectious disease. If you are exposed to a microbe, will it stick in the context of the commensal diversity of your existing microbiome? So that's going to be a really cool talk that we'll get towards the end of the day. Okay, so that's enough about intro to the course. I'd like to also call out all the people who made this possible. So, in addition to our instructors who've been very visible the last these 2 days, Christian Diener and Nick Bowman. We've also had speakers that are going to be speaking in these 2 days of the course. Yesterday, you heard from Ashish Jha, and today you're hearing from Alex Carr. We have teaching assistants who are on the Slack channel helping you with all your questions. And so those include Noah Rappaport, Alex Carr, James Johnson, Samantha Picos, and myself. Beyond that, we have a lot of administrative support that have helped keep this event going. So our events coordinator, Dominic Lewis, has coordinated across all of our admin to make this all happen with the help of Allison Kudla, Joe Meister, Audrey Hubbard, Connor Kelly, Victoria Uhl, Shanna Braga, and Thea Swanson. And finally, trying to teach folks about underrepresented populations as ourselves, people coming from overrepresented populations in science. We wanted to be careful not to misspeak or misuse data or not provide the proper context. And so we reached out to Emily Bissell and Dr. Sue Ishak from the Microbes and Social Equity Working Group to be our sort of DEI consultants on this series this year. So they've helped us review our materials and try to build something that is equitable and representative in a respectful way. So beyond that, some people ask about certificates. We will send out an email later on after this series is over to give you details about how to get certificates of completion from having attended this course. If you have any issues with course materials and you need assistance during the course, please visit our course-2022 Slack channel. That's where the TAs will be looking for questions and answering your questions. You've already received a link in the email, but we'll share it again in the chat. So if you can look in the Zoom chat, you should see a link to the Slack channel as well. To ensure that everyone can enjoy the course in a safe and harassment-free environment, we provided a code of conduct, which can be found pinned in the general Slack channel. If we observe behaviors that violate this code, we will warn the perpetrators. We reserve the right to remove problem users from Slack if this behavior persists, but I do not anticipate that this will happen. I just wanted to throw that out there to let you know we have a system in place in case there are any bad actors. All right, so without further ado, I will pass it off now to Nick Bowman, who is going to run the course for this whole day. Oh, and I forgot the poll, actually. Dominic, did it go away? Okay, great, sorry. Now I will read the results of our poll. Okay, so 1% of you are high school students, which very brave high school students doing such a complicated tutorial. Kudos to you for doing this. 3% are undergrads, 46% are graduate students, and 24% are postdocs. So the vast majority of our participants look like grad students and postdocs. 10% of our participants are PIs, like me. So good on you for learning something new, stretching yourself today. Industry scientists make up 5% of our population, and then another 15% are just straight up microbiome enthusiasts, not necessarily scientists, but just microbiome curious and wanting to learn more. So welcome to all of you today. Hopefully you'll get a lot out of the course today. So okay, without further ado, I will pass it off to Nick. I believe we have 15 minutes before the official start time of the course, which is at 9:30 Pacific. So there'll be a little bit of period between when I'm done speaking and when Nick starts off. But you're in great hands today. Nick is a very talented graduate student who has been manipulating these metabolic models and studying the impact of diet on the outputs of microbiomes for a couple of years now. And so he's put together a really, really beautiful course.